This is DW News Africa. Coming up on the program, patriarchy, tradition, and power. Is that a fatal mix for women and girls in Cameroon? A human rights crisis unfolding in one of Central Africa's largest nations, with femicide and sexual violence rising and activists demanding justice that never seems to come. And in Uganda, the army chief, who also happens to be the president's son, is shutting down the independent press, arresting lawyers, and putting opposition figures on trial, all while eyeing the presidency himself. But is Muhoozi Kainerugaba already the country's most powerful man? I'm Michael Okwu. Welcome. A series of rapes involving young children has shocked Cameroon and sparked widespread public outrage. Although the country has laws designed to protect children, weak enforcement and limited institutional capacity often leave survivors without adequate support. As a result, many families are left to pursue justice on their own in a society where poverty, fear, and intimidation remain powerful obstacles. DW's Blaise Iyong reports from Buea.
Alima, not her real name, has just gone through an ordeal. Something no mother could ever bear see happen to her child. A week ago, in their village, her daughter was raped by a middle-aged man. The girl is just 10 years old.
That man don't come for afternoon for house. He tell me, say, man follow you go take pay. On Sunday day, now the pair carry matter go for that man in house, for that man rape matter. And they feel me fine. For since on that Wednesday morning, so they now so had the struggle for chop, and they feel happy. They hold me over.
Despite the trauma this mother is going through, she still has to find the money so her daughter can see a doctor and undergo STD screening tests. As a local street vendor, she doesn't earn enough to afford the €60 the doctor charges for treatment.
The gynecologist be take the pikin, he examine the pikin, write some medicine them. So I never buy the medicine. So they be send me back. Janda, they be send me back for the gynecologist. Mary give me medical certificate.
There is no single reliable figure for the number of children raped in Cameroon, largely because many cases go unreported and data collection remains inconsistent.
Reported cases of child sexual abuse have dominated discussions on social media in Cameroon in recent months, sparking outrage and calls for tougher actions against perpetrators.
We visited Modika, a village where 5 new cases of rape against children have been reported since the start of the year. Fear reigns within the community. Today, a group of women have come together to discuss the issue with the help of a local NGO, Rescue Women Cameroon.
Rape has become so notorious in this our village because even the one that are raping people here, they no longer take judgment to them. We still have some rapists here in this our village that he has just raped a child, but they have just solved it in a kind of local way, and the man is still there bragging. And we, the mothers here, we are afraid because we still have rapists among us. Our children are no longer safe.
Frustrated by what they perceive as government's inaction and its failures to address the problem of abuse, some mothers, like 64-year-old Grace Asa, said they'd rather take the law into their own hands.
So from my own heart, I feel so if you just castrate the person, then leave it. Make him move that thing, make that thing just wipe for a brain when no feel member say if you do anything like that one again. Because the thing don't pass with. You see small girl picking so boy don't really catch and spoil her.
In Buea, the child protection officer at the Ministry of Women's Empowerment in the Family for the Southwest region denies allegations that the government is failing victims of child sexual abuse. However, she admits that some families face pressure and are offered money to keep quiet about the abuse. Even staff fear being targeted.
You fear for your life that if you report a case of abuse, the perpetrator might come after you. And their fears are legit because even us social workers, case workers, it gets to a point that even your life, you are not safe. They are after you for following up a case. They are after you. There are many
even for people like you that work for the state?
Of course. Of course. Nobody is above gender-based violence. You might want to intervene in a case, and the next victim, it's you.
The man who allegedly assaulted Alima's 10-year-old girl was arrested with the help of a local politician. But even if he's found guilty, there are widespread fears that he could simply bribe his way out of his sentence, a practice that is not uncommon in Cameroon.
We're happy to welcome Gladys Mbuya. She is a senior barrister at Cameroon's Bar Association, a passionate human rights defender and president of the Federation of Women Lawyers in Cameroon. Gladys, as we heard in that report, many survivors of gender-based violence have to face their attackers bribing their way out of justice. How big a problem is this?
Yeah, I think it's a huge problem because just the fact that you need to bribe your way out, it actually, deters many survivors from reporting, from coming up to report. Because first of all, we have the issue of poverty. And talking about bribing your way through, yeah, those are reports we've had in our office, FIDA Cameroon, we've had reports like that. But unfortunately, again, bribery is a crime, and we still have not had any proofs, but we know and we get those complaints about people being asked to bribe their way through.
Cameroon's Bar Association is one organization that says it wants to help survivors of gender-based violence. Last month, it set up a WhatsApp helpline and a dedicated legal unit, which of course you're involved in. What's on offer?
Yeah, I think I first of all want to let you know that gender-based violence is a very serious violation, and it actually inhibits women and girls the ability to realize their full potentials. Unfortunately, women and girls in Cameroon, they experience all forms of violence, including GBV, on a daily basis. They are either beaten, they are raped, they are attacked, and what have you. So, the Cameroon Bar Association is a watchdog of the society, and the president of the Cameroon Bar Association, after getting information about the rate at which violence is increasing in Cameroon, GBV, he had to set up that commission. In fact, in the words of the Minister of Women's Empowerment and the Family, who is the minister in charge of the ministry that is supposed to promote women's rights, in her own very words, since 2023, Cameroon has realized, we have witnessed a rise in femicide. That's another form of violence that is taking women's lives every day. And the Bar Association could not sit quiet. And then the Bar Association got many reports about rape. You will not believe people, I don't know whether it's a sect or what, they rape children as young as 3 years old.
What specifically is your organization, the Bar Association, what are they doing to combat this issue or to provide help for the victims?
Yes, I think our unit is charged with representing survivors before the authorities, be they judicial police, be they before the courts, be they before the legal department. Because one thing too we identified is most people don't report, they don't go through with prosecution because of poverty. So we are one big role my commission is going to play is offer pro bono services. We have to represent survivors of GBV wherever they need help, be it referring them to support services, because, referring even to support services is a way of helping. And I think, we are there to represent them pro bono basis.
Why is this gender-based violence happening? And why the surge in cases?
I think, I think I'll confidently say that one principal reason why GBV still exists, despite the efforts that even we in FIDA and the Cameroon Bar is putting in place, is patriarchy. Cameroon is a country that has numerous tribes and numerous customs. Most of our customs are discriminatory. Most of our customs, if we practice them, we are perpetrating violence. And we are so wedded to this custom that to change the mindsets is something difficult. Our customs always view women as second-class citizens. So they believe perpetrating violence against them is a customary, I don't know how to put it, but they believe that women, they don't have the right to go to school, they don't have the same rights with their male siblings. And so sometimes they take women and trade them for poverty. Families always believe that women can be used as a medium of exchange. When they are poor, they think they can send this girl out for marriage. They use the money from the bride price to pay for the boys' school fees. And then they send girls into early marriages. It's from our customs. It's not as if the law supports that. One second reason is gaps in our laws. We have lots of gaps in our laws. It is true that we have a penal code that punishes acts of violence, or GBV, punishes acts of GBV. But again, this penal code does not touch on the specificity of various forms of violence. More often than not, we as women's rights or human rights lawyers, we are forced to use provisions like assault occasioning death, assault occasioning grievous harm, to prosecute cases of violence. So, and most often the definitions in the penal code, they are vague and difficult to use in promoting the rights of survivors. So we think that Cameroon needs a review of these laws, of its laws. There is no specific law on domestic violence in Cameroon. There is no standalone law on GBV. And it is high time we have those laws in place so that they will attend to the specific natures of especially emerging forms of violence. We see many forms of violence coming up now, especially technology-assisted forms of violence. So we need a standalone law to ensure that we can stamp out violence. There are some other reasons I would love to put forth. There is fear and the issue of stigma. Many survivors of violence, they don't want to report. They are afraid of what the society will think of them. They are thinking that the people will laugh at them. And so there is underreporting. If we don't report and the perpetrators don't get punished, the circle will continue. This stigma and fear especially fear of retribution. Yeah, because most often we've had reports of how people have been intimidated, and then even family members interfere to tell you that, no, you should not report, and things like that. Those are some of the aspects that make violence to continue.
The government says it's committed to protecting women and girls. From your perspective, is that commitment translating into meaningful action?
I don't see a lot of political will. We get a lot of promises, but we don't get the political will. First thing to show the political will is to place enough budget, enough funding, enough finances at the disposal of the Ministry of Women's Empowerment and the Family. Unfortunately, it may surprise you to hear that that ministry is the least funded. Each time you hear about funding, this ministry, they need to put safe homes in place. Cameroon has very few safe homes. Cameroon has very few support services. And so the first step they have to take is to put funds to support survivors. so that they can escape from their abusers. Most often you see abusers going back to the perpetrator's house just because they don't have where to run to. That's the first thing the government should do. And they should put policies in place, real policies, and publicize them. I know they have a national action plan against GBV, but it is not well known. And if you don't know about any action plan, you will not assess whatever is in that plan. So the government should show good faith. The government should fulfill its obligations under all international conventions ratified by promulgating or enacting real laws. We need stand-alone law in Cameroon on GBV. I know that laws matter because every crime must be defined. If you don't define it in a law, it will be difficult to use those acts to protect women and to promote their rights. So I don't see political will, only promises.
And I assume you were trying to change that. Gladys Mbuya, senior barrister at Cameroon's Bar Association and president of the Federation of Women Lawyers. Many thanks to you.
Thank you so much. The pleasure is mine as we continue doing the work that is dear to our hearts, making the world a better and safer place for everybody.
Message received. In Uganda, I do not believe in a free press. Those are the words of Uganda's powerful army chief, who also happens to be the president's son, as he shut down several media outlets in the East African country. General Muhoozi Kainerugaba fired off a series of tweets announcing the closure of Daily Monitor and NTV Uganda on Sunday. To quote him, "NTV and Monitor are being shut down from today," he wrote, misspelling the name of the newspaper. "Both will not reopen without my permission," he continued. "From now on, all media in Uganda will follow the rules." Days later, both those outlets and 4 more from the Nation Media Group were still shuttered. The Daily Monitor said it was under military siege, with armed soldiers standing guard outside its offices in the capital, Kampala. Its website shows a similar scene, armed masked men in fatigues surrounding the once free press outlet. The newspaper says it's getting around the physical blockade and the broadcast and print blackout by distributing updates through online channels. So who is Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the head of Uganda's military and President Yoweri Museveni's son, has ordered a major crackdown in recent months with arrests of politicians, activists, lawyers, and media figures. Kainerugaba insists he is following the orders of his 81-year-old father, who won re-election at the start of the year. The 52-year-old son has often suggested he could take over from Museveni as president and runs his own political movement, the Patriotic League of Uganda. His postings on X aren't only confined to media outlets. They're part of a broader crackdown on opposition figures. We're going to highlight 3 of them. First, Kainerugaba bragged on X that he was proud of all the hurt and pain he would inflict on lawyer Arias Lukwago. Lukwago is charged with treason-related offenses and is an attorney for 4-time presidential candidate Kizza Besigye, seen here in the middle. Now, Besigye is behind bars for a separate treason case. A third opposition figure, another lawyer and former minister, Miriam Matebe, on the right, was charged with promoting sectarianism on Wednesday, a week after she disappeared from her home. The judge bailed the 73-year-old, citing her age. To unpack all this, I'm pleased to welcome Sukula Onyela, a human rights researcher working with Amnesty International, and he joins us from Nairobi. I'm curious, from where you sit, is General Muhoozi acting as a loyal enforcer of his father's presidency or as a politician in uniform running his own succession campaign? What does the Muhoozi project look like on the ground right now?
Well, we've seen General Muhoozi indicate clearly that he would prefer to take over after his father. But he's coming in with a lot more authoritarian tendencies, much harsher authoritarian tendencies than his father did, because we see that in his under the project, there is no dissent. He's crushing dissent. He's crushing any pretense to the rule of law. He has indicated that he does not engage with the critics. He has virtually kicked, most of the opposition leaders are either in jail or some have fled the country. So we see a rule of fear. We see a person who doesn't want scrutiny from whether it's the independent media or civil society, and no accountability, because he's also militarizing the state.
No accountability. Again, he's taken clear shots at the media, saying he doesn't believe in a free press because media should be, quote, guided by the cadres of the revolution. I'm not sure entirely what that means, but I do wonder what journalists in the country think it means. What are the day-to-day realities for journalists and newsrooms across the country today?
The journalists we've spoken with have indicated to us the fear they have. So there's a lot of fear within newsrooms in Uganda because you can never speak against the government. There has been an order from persons very close to General Muhoozi who've instructed media to only air positive government stories. It's now becoming very difficult for newsrooms to bring on board panelists who are perceived to be critical of government. And this definitely is not good for the, an independent media, because they can't operate in such an environment that is highly restrictive.
You're talking about a scenario in which he's trying to turn everything, every outlet, into state media, essentially. You could call much of what we're seeing political theater playing out on X. Threats to behead Bobby Wine, detain diplomats, keep media outlets closed. Are these just provocative posts, or do people in the country see them as binding orders from the de facto center of power?
These are actually real posts. Muhoozi is ruling the country through social media, and whenever he posts anything, it's actually acted upon by the authorities. He's the institution. And I think it also goes to what the presidency of Museveni has been. The institutions were crushed, and now everything has been personalized. And so we see that whatever Muhoozi says on social media, it has come to pass. And that's why Amnesty actually is asking that all those who've been arbitrarily arrested due to what Muhoozi has said on social media need to be freed. And all the 6 media houses that have been shut down on orders from Muhoozi also need to be opened. And we also want to ask that all those civil society activists who are being harassed, that the intimidation should end, because he's actually doing it on social media, and we are seeing it in real life.
So to be clear, what you're saying is people in the region do not view his posts simply as a political leader or figure thumping his chest or posturing. They really do take the post seriously as coming from the center of power in the country.
Correct. And whatever Muhoozi has alluded to on social media, tweeted about, has come to pass. Unfortunately, like in the very recent case where he ordered the closure of the 6 media houses, we saw later statement saying that all these actions were taken on orders of the president, Mr. Museveni. So Muhoozi is virtually doing these actions on behalf of the president, who, by the way, is legally duty-bound to make sure that human rights are protected. And if that is not happening, he's the one to be held accountable, of course, with the person who is making this call. So these actions that violate people's rights.
So looking beyond today's headlines, what concerns you the most about the direction Uganda is heading?
Our biggest concern as Amnesty International is the entrenchment of impunity through Hosi's actions. We see that there's continued erosion of human rights. We see activists being subjected to baseless investigations, the media being shut down, and the misuse of criminal justice system is something that continues to to concern us as Amnesty, and we still call for the release of all those who are currently behind bars for exercising their right, for the reopening of the media houses that have been shut down on orders with no justification, and also an end to the harassment of activists in Uganda.
That is Sukula Onyela, human rights researcher working with Amnesty International. Our deep thanks to you.
Thank you very much for hosting us.
We're going to end it there. Thanks so much for being with us. It's bye for now.